Hey guys, what's up? We have something that makes the Mythical Beast archetype much more different to your standard pendulums, and this being that they cannot pendulum summon. They develop the game by being in the pendulum zone and abusing spell counters. So this video is going to be about how Mythical Beasts work and their interactions with certain cards, as well as basic strategies that the OCG as well as Konami have come up with to assist you in order to play them at their most basic level. Extreme Force, which went on sale October 14th, 2017, includes the Mythical Beast arc theme, which is based on making its moves using spell counters, while utilizing the Pendulum Zone. All of the Mythical Beasts that appear this time around are spellcaster pendulum monsters, whose pendulum scale is 4. Let's check out the tactics of these brand new pendulum monsters that don't need to pendulum summon. So the basic characteristics of Mythical Beasts include it has an effect to place spell counters on it, and they have powerful effects that use spell counters. Their pendulum effects, they have powerful pendulum effects that support the developments of allies by activating them as spell cards. By the Pendulum Zone, it makes a combo by placing spell counters on all your allies. Mythical Beast pendulum monsters all have a monster effect that places spell counters on them whenever a spell card is activated. For what it's worth, in the case of high-level Mythical Beasts, 2 spell counters are placed on them. This is obviously because to deal with the fact that, you know, it's been more difficult in order to summon them. They want to give you a little bit more of a reason to run the higher level ones, which typically, if you're in certain archetypes, sometimes it's not even worth running the higher ones. And each of the Mythical Beasts have a powerful effect that lets you remove the spell counters you gain to make use of powerful effects. And besides using them as monsters, pendulum monsters are spell cards when activated in the Pendulum Zone, meaning you bring out effects by placing spell counters on your allies. Also, each card's effect is also strong, meaning they strongly support playing Mythical Beasts. So we have a few questions that have been answered. What is a counter? Well, a counter is a marker placed on a card on the field due to things such as card effects. So you'll have cards not just within this archetype. You've got generic spellcasters, Skilled Dark Magician, Break the Magical Swordsman, and various other spellcasters especially, who can have counters placed on them. These cards can accumulate multiple counters, so make sure you have some means of keeping track of the duel without your markers being intrusive or obstructive. Certain cards, such as Skilled Dark Magician, have a maximum to their counter load, so you can only run up to 3 counters before you can activate the effect, and you cannot gain any more than that. Introducing Mythical Beast pendulum monsters, we'll check out all of the Mythical Beasts that have currently appeared. Banish your opponents to greatly strengthen it. Its pendulum effect is also an intense starting point for your combos. So this is Mythical Beast Master Cerberus, 2800 attack and 2800 defense. Each time a spell card is activated, place 2 spell counters on this card when that spell resolves. If there are 4 or more spell counters on your field, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Once per turn, you can remove 4 spell counters from your field, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, banish it, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to the original attack of the banished monster until the end of your opponent's turn. Its pendulum effect is, if you have no cards in your other Pendulum Zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add 1 level 7 or lower Mythical Beast effect monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Master Cerberus once per turn. The next one is for restrain your opponent with its effect that seals monster effects. Its pendulum effect also can explosively deploy your ace monsters. So this is Mythical Beast King Jackal with 2400 attack and 1400 defense. Each time a spell is activated, place 2 spell counters on this card. When that spell resolves, once per turn when an opponent's monster activates its effect, as a quick effect, you can remove 2 spell counters from your field, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Its pendulum effect is, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, special summon 1 face-up Mythical Beast pendulum monster from your extra deck, except Mythical Beast King Jackal. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast King Jackal once per turn. The next card, it has a strong effect to call allies from the deck. Its pendulum effect that places spell counters also prepares you for using your allies' effects. So this is Mythical Beast Jackal with 0 attack and 1400 defense. Each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. You can remove 3 spell counters from your field, then tribute this card, special summon 1 Mythical Beast effect monster from your deck except Mythical Beast Jackal. Pendulum effect is, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you can target 1 card you control that you can place a spell counter on, destroy this card, and if you do, place 1 spell counter on that card. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Jackal once per. It appears from the hand, disrupting your opponent's moves. It also has a powerful pendulum effect to destroy spell and trap cards. So this is Mythical Beast Garuda with 1200 attack and 1600 defense. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, special summon this card from your hand, then return the monster or monsters your opponent summoned to the hand. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Garuda once per turn. Each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. Its pendulum effect is, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you can target 1 other spell or trap card on the field, destroy both it and this card. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Garuda once per turn. The next one is it supports battle with an effect that halves a monster's attack and defense. Its pendulum effect is a handy effect that can special summon monsters beyond mythical beasts. So this is Mythical Beast Medusa. It has 1500 attack and 1500 defense. Each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. Once per turn during the battle phase, as a quick effect, you can remove 2 spell counters from your field, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. Its attack becomes half its current attack and defense until the end of this turn. Its pendulum effect is, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard that you can place a spell counter on, destroy this card, and if you do, special summon that monster. And if you do that, place 1 spell counter on it. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Medusa once per turn. Next card is it broadens your strategies by returning allies in your pendulum zone and extra deck back to the hand. Its draw-centered pendulum effect is also strong. So this is Mythical Beast Basilisk. It has 1800 attack and 500 defense, and its effect is, each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. When that spell resolves, you can remove 3 spell counters from your field, return 1 Mythical Beast card from your pendulum zone, or face up from your extra deck to the hand. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Basilisk once per turn. Its pendulum effect is, if you have no cards in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, shuffle 1 face-up spellcaster pendulum monster from your extra deck into the deck, except Mythical Beast Basilisk, then draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Mythical Beast Basilisk once per turn. Now, as for the combos themselves, they've provided a basic way of how they work. So, with 1 card in hand, you can have Mythical Beast Master Cerberus combine pendulum effects to make your ace monster appear on the field. So, step 1, activate Master Cerberus in a pendulum zone and activate its pendulum effect. 2, add King Jackal from your deck to your hand. Activate King Jackal in a pendulum zone and activate its pendulum effect. 4, special summon Master Cerberus from the extra deck. With 1 Mythical Beast Master Cerberus from your hand, by combining pendulum effects, you can special summon Mythical Beast Master Cerberus to the field. And as for the spell and trap lineup, they have also provided some suggestions. So handy, good, powerful spell and trap cards make their debut. Let's check out the new spell and trap cards with effects related to spell counters. Now, the first one says it has 2 intense effects that place spell counters by setting it to bait your opponent. You can then chain it to draw out both effects. This is Magical Boost. This is a quick play spell card that says send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then target 1 card on the field that you can place a spell counter on. Place up to 2 spell counters on it. If this card is in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 monster from your deck that you can place a spell counter on, and if you do, place up to 2 spell counters on it. You can only activate 1 magical boost per turn. This card can be used as a bluff. Your opponent might use something like Heavy Storm Duster or Twin Twisters to try and destroy this, not realizing that you suddenly activate it. So not only have they wasted their spell and trap removal, but they have given you not only the spell counters, which are important necessarily within the deck, that also encourages you to summon into a boss monster. Now, as for this other card, it says it has an incredibly powerful effect to add any spell card from your deck to the hand. This is Magical Burst. It is a continuous trap card that says each time an opponent's monster activates its effect, place 1 spell counter on this card. When that effect resolves, you can send this card with 6 or more spell counters to the graveyard and 1 spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Magical Burst once per turn. It's a new Pendulum spell card, also appears, that strongly supports mythical beasts who share the same scales. So you have add 2 different face-up Pendulum monsters with the same scales from your extra deck to your hand with this powerful effect. People probably won't need much of an introduction to what is the next card. It has been a means of providing more consistency to Pendulum cards, and it is Pendulum Paradox. This is a normal spell card that says add 2 face-up Pendulum monsters with the same Pendulum scale, but different names from your extra deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 Pendulum Paradox per turn. This is better on later on in the duel, when some of your cards have ended up in your extra monster zone. And obviously with the link format, they're treated as extra deck monsters. You only have 1 extra deck monster zone. So this at least provides you with the ability to recover them. The next card they like to introduce are several compatible good cards. First is no surprise to anyone. It's called the Magical Citadel of Endymion. Not to be confused, there is also a spellcaster, I think it's a level 7, who works well with this card as well. This is a field spell with 4 effects that can also have spell counters placed. Not only does it have an effect to place spell counters, but it makes sure spell counters that were placed on are the cards that are destroyed, making this card's placement effects very strong. Also, this card has an effect to protect itself from destruction while maintaining the spell counters on your field, allowing you to strongly support other cards that make use of these spell counters. These involve obviously cards whose monster effects involve spell counters, as well as the pendulum effects that involve spell counters. It mentions to take advantage of the features of Mythical Beast pendulum effects. So first we have Astrograph Sorcerer. The pendulum effects of Mythical Beast destroy themselves in order to unleash their effects. You can use this as a trigger to special summon this card from your hand, and you can use its effect to add one monster from your deck to your hand. That if another copy was destroyed that turn, meaning you can add the Mythical Beast that was just destroyed back to your hand. The next card is Wavering Eyes. Again, this is not a very predictable for the pendulum monsters. It was to an extent banned for a while because, pendulums were doing too well and people were citing this as a means of getting rid of your opponent's pendulum zones. This is Wavering Eyes. This card has an effect that destroys all cards in all players' pendulum zones and then applies effects depending on the number of destroyed cards. By destroying 2 or more, you can add a pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, with Astrograph Sorcerer as a good choice. You can immediately special summon Astrograph Sorcerer from the hand and create an intense combo by adding a copy of the destroyed monster from your deck to your hand. Also, by arranging the conditions for the pendulum effects of Mythical Beasts, which cannot be activated if the other pendulum zone is occupied, you also get a chance to refill your hand. The next card is Pendulum Switch. This is a continuous trap card that says its effect that special summons a card from the pendulum zone, allows you to call forth powerful monsters, which also allowing you to fulfill the activation conditions of Mythical Beast pendulum effects. Its effect that places pendulum monsters from the monster zone to the pendulum zone is extremely powerful and can be chained to your opponent's effects, allowing you to escape them. And since it's a continuous trap card, keep in mind its effects can be used during each turn, bringing a breadth of strategy. The next card is Duelist Alliance. This is a spell card not to be confused with the actual pack, which was the first pack within the Arc 5 era. It's a powerful card that adds cards from your deck to your hand that work well with this deck, such as Pendulum Paradox or Pendulum Switch. It even adds Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, which will be mentioned later, to your hand. It also mentions that there are various Odd Eyes cards that add strength to the strategy. The first card being the original Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. It's a great pendulum monster that works well in all sorts of ways. Its pendulum effect not only adds cards to your hand, but it also enables the conditions of activating the pendulum effects of Mythical Beasts. If you destroy this card with its own effect, and since it destroys itself, you can make the combo in tandem with Astrograph Sorcerer. It also has a pendulum scale of 4, just like your Mythical Beasts, making it work and synergize well with Pendulum Paradox. The next card is the actual attack of the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, called Spiral Flame Strike. While triggering the effect that places spell counters on cards, this card can also add Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon from the deck to the hand, and if there's an Odd Eyes card already present, you can make use of its intense effect that constricts the opponent's field. The next card is Performer Pal Odd Eyes Dissolver. It can be special summoned from the hand to protect allies from battle. Also, it has a powerful monster effect that lets you fusion summon by using itself, and even cards in the Pendulum Zone. And its Pendulum effect is powerful, allowing you to fusion summon Dragon Fusion monsters. Since this card is both an Odd Eyes monster and a Pendulum monster, it can be used in tandem with the powerful effects of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Also, it has the same Pendulum scale 4 as the Mythical Beasts. The next card are the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. It has a powerful effect to constrict the monsters on your opponent's field, as well as an intense effect that can negate the activations of monster effects, spell cards, and trap cards. The last card they recommend is Performer Pal Odd Eyes Synchron. It can special summon a card from your Pendulum Zone, allowing you to use this card, and that card only as material to call forth a Synchro monster. This not only sets up for activating the effects of Mythical Beasts, but since it's an Odd Eyes card, you can use this card for a combo involving fusion monsters. So you've got your Odd Eyes related cards that will help. What cards will you use together in your deck? And now we have the promotional material, as always, for Extreme Force, which will be on sale from October 14th. This is in the OCG. Besides the cards that have appeared in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Frames animated series, cards all duelists will need are included in this basic pack, the third one of 2017. Of course, there's Cyverse types used by the protagonist Playmaker, but there's also powerful cards used by Revolver, along with the Tindangle series used by Akira Zaizen. Also keep your eyes on the new series Mythical Beast, which fights with spell counters, and the Jack Knights, whose effects affect the same column. So, what do you guys think about the Mythical Beast archetype and their inability to pendulum summon? Is this something refreshing that provides a different option rather than the standard mass summoning by focusing more on the effects of the cards? Or are you disappointed that they don't have any scale manipulation by themselves? Leave your comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and as always, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.